Sure, why not? Welcome to It Came From a Box. This is Sergio AM, and in this 2-hour marathon, we've compiled the last 10 Nintendo Switch hauled episodes featuring 101 Nintendo Switch accessories for your viewing pleasure. Very weird, I know, but why not? As always, we'll also have links for every single item in this video down in the description below. So, here we go. So first up, Joy-Con controllers. Not much to say here that I didn't already say in the review, but the first reason I picked up an extra pair was to have enough for 4 players. That's the beauty of the Joy-Cons. You don't have to buy 3 additional controllers, just 1 more since they split up into 4. Yes, they're still a bit pricey since there's a lot of tech in there, but there's not much else we can do about that. The second reason is because the colors are also the opposite of the ones that come with the Switch Neon version. That means we can have 2 blue Joy-Cons or my favorite, 2 red. I can safely say that the Pro Controller ranks as one of the best controllers I've personally ever used. Considering we have the Joy-Cons, this isn't really necessary, but once you try it, I feel like you may just be convinced. First, it gives us a traditional layout that many are accustomed to, and it's a size which really feels comfortable in hand. It has these nice plastic grips that almost feel like rubber, and it's covered in these small dimples which help keep it from sliding in your hands. And like the Joy-Cons, it also has the same motion control support, HD rumble, and NFC reader for amiibos, but it lacks the IR reader. So on it, you have nice and big responsive face and shoulder buttons, bigger analog sticks which are surprisingly buttery smooth, I love these things, and what some will consider to be the most important feature, a D-pad. It's actually a bit tough, and I've read here and there that some people don't like this D-pad, but I personally don't really have an issue with it. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It's my favorite way to play the Switch next to handheld mode. Next, we have the Joy-Con charging grip, which is a bit deceiving. In a sense, it's unnecessary because you get a similar looking grip with your Switch, and the difference between that one and this one is minimal at best. The first is in the name. It has the ability to charge your Joy-Cons, but not as you expect. It doesn't have a battery in it. In the box, you get a USB-C cable, and that goes into the port at the top of the grip. That's how you charge the Joy-Cons, so you just attach them, and it has an LED to notify its status. Orange is charging, and green is fully charged. The other difference is that the charging grip has this cool-looking transparent plastic, but you can barely notice it. It needs to be illuminated to stand out. So yeah, it would have been really nice if it had a battery to wirelessly charge the Joy-Cons instead of being tethered by that cable. And it would have been also great if they added textured grips like the ones found on the Pro Controller. So there it is. I wouldn't really recommend this one unless you constantly use your Switch in TV mode and need to keep the Joy-Cons charged, or if you're like me, you bought some extra Joy-Cons and want to have a grip specifically for them. If you're planning on traveling anywhere with the Nintendo Switch, you're going to need a case to protect the exposed plastic screen and those analog sticks. So here we have the Game Traveler Deluxe Travel Case by RDS Industries. Reason I picked this one up is because it's a hard shell case, which is very protective, and it's really small. So inside you'll see that it's vacuum formed to fit the Switch, which gives it slots for the triggers. It also comes with 2 red cases, which together can hold 8 games, as well as 4 micro SD cards that have their own little cases. Those cases then slide right into these slots, and below that you have a bit of room for earbuds. The Switch goes right in and locks into place with this soft padded pouch up here that attaches via this Velcro tab. There's not that much room in that pouch, but it gives you enough to fit some cables or the Joy-Con straps in there. And that's pretty much it. You can carry it via the handle or just put it in a bag like I do. If you plan to travel with your Switch along with the dock and other accessories, you don't want to use a normal bag where everything can slam into each other in there. That's why I picked up the Game Traveler Deluxe System Case by RDS Industries. Same as its smaller brother, it's hard shell, which helps prevent anything inside from getting crushed, and it's also vacuum formed. It has slots for the Nintendo Switch console with Joy-Cons attached, the dock, and Joy-Con grip, or Pro Controller. There's also slots on the sides to store additional accessories. In fact, it comes with a pouch for cables, and the same 2 cases for games, and the mini cases for those micro SD cards. I'm big on kits and having bags for those kits, which is why I wanted this, and it works really well. Nothing moves inside due to those vacuum formed slots, and I actually got a lot of stuff in it. It's not the most stylish solution, but it still works really well. After having the hard shell for a few weeks, I wanted something really simple to store my Switch when I'm at home or at the office. That's when I stumbled upon this beautiful pouch by Waterfield. This one in my hands is made of ballistic nylon that feels really good in hand. It's got 2 compartments. The main one unzips from the top all the way to the bottom side, which lets you open it really wide. This way you don't have to worry about your analog sticks rubbing up against something. The material inside is really nice and soft plush, which hugs the console and keeps the screen clean. Now when it's closed, you won't have to worry about it opening on its own because it has these awesome locking zippers. Then on the side here we have this little strap so you can attach it to things. I added a carabiner that I had. Now the second compartment is right here in the front. It's half the size. It has this nice yellow lining and 2 compartments within it. You can put in all kinds of small accessories in here, games, a charging cable, or those Joy-Con straps, but you don't want to go crazy with it since it's right up against the Switch. So my one problem with it is pretty obvious: protection. It's not a hard shell case, so if something slams up against this, it won't really protect the Switch. I personally don't mind that at all. I knew that coming in. This is more for everyday carry than, say, if I was traveling with more stuff. It's lightweight, it's easy to use, it's extremely low profile, and it's very stylish. I love this pouch. Next up, something I normally hate, and that is a screen protector. I think it just looks tacky and no one gets it on perfectly. There's always bubbles, sometimes there's dust, and it just looks gross, and I never liked it. But I honestly feel that the Nintendo Switch is in dire need of one due to that large, exposed plastic screen. The one I got is tempered glass and made by Film, but there's multiple brands out there which I'm sure work just as well. Now, it was actually pretty difficult to install. I haven't done this for a while. The good thing is that they included 2 of them, so feel free to mess up that first one. Eventually, I did nail the second one, but the problem was that I didn't get it 100% straight. It's slightly crooked, so now the screen serves as a constant reminder of my failure. I don't know if it was a simple oversight, but the dock that comes with the Switch doesn't have an Ethernet port. At home, I prefer to play hardwired because it's more reliable than a Wi-Fi connection, and to be honest, no one likes to disconnect in the middle of a game. So that's why I picked up this USB Ethernet adapter by Green. There's also an officially licensed one that's overpriced and has terrible reviews, so I'm not going to suggest that one, but this one didn't cost much and it works really well. So this accessory is actually hilarious to me, but I think it's sadly necessary. This is a dock sock, and it protects the screen, but only from getting scratched by the dock, hence the name. I got this specific one on Etsy from a seller called Active Patch. They offer a few different designs, but what I wanted was a custom one, so I just sent them a vector file, and here it is. The front side here is slightly padded while the back is thinner and made of a really soft cotton. Not sure what Nintendo was thinking with those harsh plastic edges in there, but now I just don't really have to worry about it. So yeah, Active Patch on Etsy, they were very kind and helpful, so if you're interested, go support them and pick one up. I'll have links in the description below. If you watched our review, one of the cons with the Nintendo Switch is that you can't charge it while using the kickstand in tabletop mode. So if you want to use it angled, instead of laying flat on a table, you're going to want something like this Hori Playstand. I really hope I said that right. It's Hori, right? Hori? Anyways, the stand is made of a sturdy plastic and it folds down to about ½ an inch. It has 3 adjustable angles, 30, 50, and 60 degrees, with rubber feet to prevent it from moving. The front flap that holds the Switch pops right out, and it has this cutout in the bottom so you can connect the charging cable via this route below, which I like. It prevents it from getting in the way. It's also nice and wide so it won't wobble around, and the most important feature, it has an open back for vent airflow. If you don't have that, you risk having your Switch overheat. My problem with this stand is that it's actually pretty big. It's just about the size of the console. I'm not sure how they could have cut down on the size, but the issue here is that it doesn't fit in my normal cases, so I don't really have it on me at all times. Nonetheless, it works really well, and it's a must-have for those of you who love to play in tabletop mode. Let me begin by saying that I'm returning this. One of the first Nintendo Switch accessories I was looking for was a shell, maybe soft shell or a hard shell like this one, to help protect it from bumps and scratches, so I picked up one of these. It's a generic brand which is sold under different names and it's okay at best. The material is this hard crystal plastic that arrived with small cracks here and there, so it fits nice and snug and locks into place with these little pegs that slide into the screw holes on the back, which It was scary to put this on. I didn't want to scrape the plastic on the device, so I can only imagine how difficult it's going to be to remove this. For the most part, the cutouts work really well and it still gives you access to the essentials. Then on the back of the Joy-Cons, they added these ergonomic extruded grips, which don't really do much for me, at least nothing that I noticed. Now, one thing I do like is that you can still separate the Joy-Cons from the console, but the biggest flaw here is that the release button is near impossible to reach because it's surrounded by this plastic shell. You're gonna need something to reach in there, like a pencil or something pointy. So if you only play in handheld mode and you don't remove the Joy-Cons, this may work for you. But if you're like me and go from handheld to TV mode, this doesn't fit in the dock, so you're gonna have to remove the shell every time. That's why I'm returning it. If you're like us and take advantage of those 20% off pre-order discounts for physical games, by now you may need a game case. We already outgrew the ones we had, so that's why we picked up the Hori game card case, which holds 24 games. Hope I got it right this time. Hori, right? It's made of all plastic construction, and I do like that the front is transparent so you can look inside of it. Now, it opens safely, nothing pops out, and inside there's two what I'll call pages that hold 12 games, 6 on each side, and it includes a memory card holder for 2 micro SD cards. Inserting games is very easy. You simply push the game in towards the middle of the page, and it snaps in. Once in, these will not accidentally come out. They're held very securely, so much so that taking them out is a bit difficult. The way to do it is you push the card's edge towards the middle and lift. It takes more pressure than you'd expect, but you'll quickly get the hang of it. So a great solution for those of you who want a secure way to store more games. Next up is the Niko Clip Grip Power. Unlike Nintendo's Joy-Con charging grip, which doesn't have a battery as many of us first thought, this one does. Not only that, but more. It's like the Swiss Army knife of Switch grips, and it's why it's our current favorite. This grip is slightly larger than the official one, it's all plastic, but feels really good in hand, very ergonomic. Inside, it has a 3000 milliamp battery to keep your Joy-Cons charged, and there's also a button at the top to check the charge via these LEDs. Now, the way that battery charges is via micro USB at the top. Sadly, no USB-C. And next to it, we have a USB port to charge other devices, such as a phone. Now, there's a reason for that, and it's on the back, where we have a hidden universal phone clip, which snaps on at the top. So the idea is you place your phone on it, and then you can use the Nintendo Switch Online app for voice chat. One problem, the app doesn't rotate to landscape mode. In my opinion, you're probably just better off using Discord, which handles voice chat way better, and it also rotates to landscape. The last thing, in the middle, for those of you who haven't yet picked up a game card case, this grip includes storage for 7 game cards and 2 SD cards. Very efficient use of what could have been dead space. If you have extra Joy-Cons, by now you know it's sort of a pain to keep them charged since they normally do so when attached to the Switch console. Last time we checked out the official Joy-Con charging grip, which is a decent option, but we found a better solution which charges up to 4 Joy-Cons at once. Enter the Joy-Con charging dock by PowerA. The dock has a nice weight to it which helps keep it in place when inserting the Joy-Cons, and the rubber feet at the bottom help reinforce it. While we're down there, the power cable is hidden in this nice cable wrap, which makes it really easy to store and control the length of it. Now, the way it works is pretty straightforward. You plug it into your Switch dock or your TV via USB, then slide the Joy-Cons all the way into the rails and let them charge until the red lights turn green. So not only does it charge your Joy-Cons, but it's also a great storage and display solution. So there's a dock for 4 Joy-Cons, but what if you want to charge Joy-Cons and a Pro controller? Well, PowerA just released the appropriately named Joy-Con and Pro controller charging dock to help with just that. I don't know about you guys, but we always forget to charge our Pro controller. So what I love about this dock is that it comes with a little adapter which you attach to the controller's USB-C port, and now it has a little mohawk, which allows it to charge wirelessly by simply sliding it in the dock. Love it, it's dead simple. Just drop it in and it's charging. Then in the back you have rails to slide in and charge your 2 Joy-Cons. Same as the other dock, you have the charging indicator LEDs at the top, the same rubber feet and cable storage at the bottom, a similar overall weight, and it also serves as a display. So as you can tell, we're big fans of both of these chargers. They're very convenient and they keep our controllers topped off and ready to use at any time. For those of you looking for a secondary dock that's smaller and less expensive, either for another room or travel, we found two solutions. The first is an HDMI Type-C hub adapter by Fast Snail. There's a few of these out there by multiple companies, and I was scared about it at first since I never heard of these brands before, but they have a lot of good reviews. Currently, it's the most affordable docking solution out there, and it's also the most portable because it's literally just a dongle. It doesn't come with a power or HDMI cable, so you'll have to supply your own, but the good news is, it actually works. Now, I'd suggest using this with a stand, such as the Hori one we checked out in the last video. If not, you're gonna have to lay your Switch flat on a surface, but that's no bueno. If you lay it on the back, you're blocking the air vents, which can cause your Switch to overheat. The other option is to lay it on the front, but the problem there is that it places all the weight on the analog sticks. So if you're an indoor soccer player, or if anything hits it, you may damage the console. So it's affordable, it's portable, just use it with a stand and you'll be golden. The next docking solution is the Portable Docking Kit by Niko. Alright, calm down, relax. We dedicated an entire video to this dock because there was just a lot to talk about, including your concerns, so click up there or the link in the description below to watch that. But to summarize, some users reported problems ranging from connection issues to damaged consoles. Scary stuff, I know, but we bought it before we heard of those reports, and so far, we've been pretty lucky because ours works just fine. We like that it's travel friendly since it's light and compact, yet it has all the same inputs and outputs as the official dock. The backrest doesn't block the vents, and it can also be used as a charge and play stand. What we don't like is that it's flimsy. The console is only supported by the USB-C port and this light backrest, so once again, if you're playing soccer in the same room as this dock, you're gonna have to be extra careful. We're also bummed out that the USB-C port is always exposed, which means it can get damaged if you're traveling with it. As I said, this dock didn't harm our Switch, but that's just our experience with it. If you're not a careful person or if you have any fear of this breaking your console, just don't buy it. It's not as well thought out as Nintendo's official dock, but sadly, it's one of the few options out there for those of us who've been waiting for a portable and affordable alternative. As of right now, this is our secondary dock, and we use the dongle for whenever we travel. And Nintendo, if you're listening, maybe a mini dock might be a fantastic idea. The next two items are for those of you who want a dedicated storage and carrying solution for your Switch kit. The first is the Nintendo Switch Elite Player Backpack by PDP. Sorry. You've all seen it, it looks stylish, it's made of this very nice and durable canvas, plus you can also use it as a regular backpack. On the back, we have this pillowy mesh material that keeps it from getting too hot on your back, and the straps also have it, but they're not as cushiony as I wish they were. At the top, you have a very soft and comfortable hand strap, so if you'd like, you can carry it from there. Now let's dig in. First, you have this front compartment for smaller things like a tablet, and you also have two zippered pockets inside. Behind that, we have a larger compartment for headphones, books, things like that. Right beneath the hand strap, you have a secret pocket with a soft plush interior, which works really well for your phone. And the last compartment is what makes this bag different from others, and that is slots with soft plush interiors for just about everything your Switch comes with. The Switch console fits perfectly in the left slot with or without Joy-Cons attached, but there's not much to protect the analog sticks in there. It would have been nice if it was a bit larger so you can fit the Switch within a hard case. Next, you get 6 individual slots for Joy-Cons so you can carry the max, which is 8 that can attach to a single Switch console. Really like the individual pouches, this way they don't bump up or scratch each other. Then on the right you have space for a Pro Controller or Joy-Con grip. Beneath that we have the slot for the official dock, and finally you get a zippered pocket for all your cables. One minor gripe I have with this is all the Velcro. Yes, it keeps everything secure and in place, but it can get a bit loud. That aside, this bag is a great option to help you carry your full Switch kit and more. The second bag we're taking a look at is the Everywhere Messenger Bag by PowerA. It's a bit smaller and lighter profile than the PDP backpack. It weighs just about nothing, yet it has some good padding. Not a lot, but enough. It's made of a nicely threaded type of canvas that I really love the feel of. You can carry it like a briefcase with this rubber handle or over your shoulder with the included padded strap. Unlike the PDP backpack, you don't have as many compartments, and that's because it's meant for the essentials. On the back, we have a very thin zippered pocket. Not much fits in there. Maybe some legal documents, passports, social security card, birth certificates, things like that you don't really want to carry in there in the first place. I don't know why I said that. Over on the front, we have the main zippered compartment. Let's open it up. First thing you'll notice is this very nice, soft mesh material, which makes moving things inside very easy. They just glide against it. One problem is that the inside of this flap seems to be cardboard, which means it can possibly dent or soften with time, so make sure to be careful with that. So on the right, we have a dedicated compartment for the Switch dock, then you have one to store all your cables, and to the left of that, we have space for a Pro controller or Joy-Con grip. Of course, you don't have to do it exactly like that. You can get creative with the space and fit all kinds of things in there. And if you have one of the other dock solutions we mentioned, it'll give you even more room to play with. Now for the console, you have this Velcro slot at the top. Inside, they include a separate case for the Switch. Very awesome for those of you who don't yet have one, and for those of you who do, if it's not too big, it should be compatible with this slot. What I love about this is that say you're traveling with this bag and at one point you don't want to carry the full kit. Well, you just take the console with this case and you're good to go. So if you're on the fence and don't know which to choose, the backpack is better for those who want more space, and the Messenger is best for those who want a smaller bag for essentials. If we had to choose one, we'd go with the Messenger bag. It doesn't take up a lot of room, and it also makes for an awesome gift since it comes with a case for the console. Last time we checked out one of those generic crystal cases that we didn't like, so we returned it. But since then, we stumbled upon a replacement for it. In fact, we found two, and they're by Mumba. Or is it Mumba? Why does this always happen to me? Let's go with Mumba. First up is the Slimfit version, which is their lightest one. It's available in a few colors, and as you can see, it's a single piece, so it's best for handheld mode since you'd have to remove it in order to use the Switch in tabletop or TV mode. As you can see, it wraps around the Switch like a glove, and I like that they included the bumpers. It has cutouts for every port except the buttons at the top. Instead, they added buttons which press down on those buttons, but I like them. They have a nice and smooth action to them. On the back, we do not have a cutout for the stand because, as I said, it's designed for handheld mode. Then on the bottom, we have very necessary cutouts for the vents. Now for the plastic, we have two types. One is a soft and reflective rubber, and the other is this translucent, rigid plastic. Both are just the right mix of soft and tough, so it's easy to take off, but still protects your Switch from bumps and scratches. They even added this linear design to the back of the Joy-Cons to help improve your grip. The second Mumba case is the heavy-duty version, and it's my personal favorite. It's available in 4 sort of adventurous colors, and just like the Slimfit, it's a single-piece case. It's easy to remove, and it has the same cutouts for the ports and vents. Materials are the same as well, but instead of the glossy rubber, we get this very nice and thick matte rubber that is very shock absorbent. This thing is a tank, and I'm a big fan of the design. Love all the line work and the edges, very nice. Now, I know what you're thinking, and yes, it adds bulk to a light and portable console, but in doing so, it offers great protection and a more comfortable ergonomic grip. So if you always use your Switch in TV mode or tabletop mode, this case may not be the best option for you, but if you're like me and primarily use the Switch in handheld mode, I honestly believe you're going to love this case.
Starting off the list, we have thumb grips. These offer a simple way to enhance the performance of the analog sticks. Now, you may already have a few because some Switch accessories include a set of these, but you can also buy them individually in different shapes, sizes, and textures. Here, as you can see, we went with Skull & Company's thumb grip set. They're made of a soft TPE rubber that really feels like it enhances your grip. So to install them, you turn them inside out, lay them on top of the stick, and slowly peel them into place. These are available in 3 colors, and they come with 3 pairs, each with a different design. You have Skin Grip, which offers protection as well as a different texture at a similar height as the original analog stick. Then our favorite CQC Elite with a chubby concave design which helps your accuracy. It's very easy to control with a smooth texture in the middle and a gritty texture on the exterior. Finally, we have the FPS Masters. These are very tall and you'll either love them or hate them. The idea is that they increase the analog stick's range of motion so you can play at a higher sensitivity with more control. Now, it does take some time to get used to, but of course your experience may vary. And also, be careful because your Switch won't fit in a small case with these attached. So for a few bucks, you can easily change the feel of the analog sticks, which can help with comfort, performance, and protection. We previously featured the Hori 24 game card case, but many of you requested the premium ones by PowerA, so let's take a look. Here I have the question block and creeper versions, but there's also other Mario and Zelda designs. They're very well built with rugged materials, but the size may be too big to fit in smaller carrying cases. To access your games, you simply lift the latch here and you'll find 12 form-fitting rubber slots. These are much better than the Hori hard plastic inserts, which can be a bit rough on the cartridges. The rubber ones are soft and flexible for easy insert, and the notch at the top makes it simple to take them out. Now, my only problem is the capacity. I wish they had a version that held more games because this is definitely the most protective case out there. And that's also exactly why I went with the Hori 24 game card case. But if you want something more like PowerA's cases, there's the Unik game card case, which is very similar but can store up to 16 games and 16 micro SD cards. Don't know why you'd have so many, but sure. The design is generic, but it's also waterproof. Next up, for those of you who frequently use the Joy-Cons individually for multiplayer, you may have already seen these around, and that's the humble Joy-Con grip. As the name implies, these give you a better grip on those tiny controllers. Not only that, but they also enhance the difficult to use shoulder L and R buttons with larger and wider ones. These here are by Amazon Basics. They come in a 2-pack and include 2 thumb grips. They're available in 4 colors and are made of durable ABS plastic with a coating that feels very good in hand. Honestly, it's just, so good. So if you find yourself using the Joy-Cons individually for multiplayer, as I said, they're definitely worth having around. Now, if you want an alternative, I'd suggest Gamesir's F1 racing wheel. Yes, it's a racing wheel, but it also works really well as a grip for those of you with bigger hands. It has huge, easy-to-reach shoulder buttons, a window to check your player LED, and you also have access to the Z button. We made an entire video for it, so if you want to know more, click the info card above or the link in the description below. For those of you looking for the thinnest hard case on the market, one that's become very popular is the Ultra Slim Carrying Case by Tomtoc. It's small, lightweight, with a minimal design and premium feel. The exterior is made of an EVA hardshell plastic that's form-fitted not only for the triggers on the back, but also the face buttons and the analog sticks. That's how they reduce the size by almost half of other small cases out there. It's available in 2 colors, black and this one here, gray, with a spill-resistant canvas material. On the sides we have strapped up, durable YKK zippers that open smoothly, and inside we have a soft microfiber lining with a flap to protect the screen that can also hold up to 8 games. Now, in order to keep that thin size, we do lose out on a few things, such as a mesh compartment for cables or accessories, but they were kind enough to include a separate soft carrying pouch for those things. And because it's such a precise fit, you won't be able to insert the Switch with larger thumb grips or with an attached case unless it's very thin like a shell. So keep that in mind, but for those of you looking for a minimal carrying case, this just might be the one you're looking for. In previous videos, we checked out the Waterfield pouch, which is a simple and stylish alternative to those generic hard carrying cases, and it's still our current favorite. It's less protective, but it's flexible enough to carry the Switch with a larger case attached like the Mumba Heavy Duty. Sadly, it's not compatible with something like the Skull & Company grip case with those large handles. Now recently we found a similar bag, but with more space and at a lower price tag. This is the Switch Travel Bag by Gamesir. It's made of a soft padded nylon that's water resistant with an adjustable shoulder strap, and unlike a similar sized hard shell case, this bag has more room to fit your Switch with protective cases and grips of all sizes, including the Mumba Heavy Duty or the Skull & Company grip case, and you can even fit the Switch within the Tomtoc case in here if for some reason you want to. Aside from that, you also have a zippered slot in the front for cables, an additional compartment that's large enough to store accessories, a portable battery, extra Joy-Cons, as well as 8 game slots. So if you want something a bit different with more flexibility, check it out. If you're someone who always takes your Switch on the go along with a portable battery, then you may want to check out this charge and play case, the Switch Easy Power Pack. It's available in 3 colors and it's made of a microweave nylon. On the back, we have the power strap to hold an external battery with these two bands, and the larger strap for a Joy-Con grip with or without Joy-Cons attached. Back to the front, instead of a zipper or latch, it uses loud Velcro, and it's lined with a soft microfiber material that almost feels like felt. In here, we have 7 game slots with a cutout so you can actually see what the game is inside, and then you have a mesh divider. The Switch goes in the back, and in the front, we have cable routing for the included USB to USB L-shape cable. Now, the charging feature allows you to place a battery in those back straps, then run the included cable via this cutout into the case to charge the Switch on the go. The other option is to route the cable and pop the USB-C port out towards the front, and then you can charge and use the Switch in tabletop mode. So if you always carry a battery around and you want a versatile carrying solution, check out the Power Pack, and we'll talk more about this product in another video soon. Now, the product you all requested the most was the one backed by over 2,000 people on Kickstarter, and that's the Skull & Company Grip Case. It's available in a few color variations, and it has 2 big selling features. First and foremost, the grips. You get 2 pairs, but you can buy additional colors. They attach via these hooks that easily snap in, and you can then press them from the inside to remove. The snap grip is a normal rounded out grip for average hands, and the trigger grip is larger with a curve at the top for larger hands, such as mine. The second big feature is, or was, that you can dock your Switch with the grip case attached, but recently Skull & Company has removed that information from their product page completely, most likely because not all official docks are compatible. Some are slightly bent inward, which creates a tighter fit. The one we have fits just fine, but that won't be the case for everyone, so keep that in mind. As for other details, the case is made of a flexible TPU, which makes it easy to install and remove. The grips are made of a hard polycarbonate with a subtle texture that I wish was a bit more pronounced. Looking around, you'll see that we have access to all our I/O and vents except for the kickstand. Now, at the top, you'll notice the case covers both sets of shoulder buttons, which they say provides a better gaming experience, but in use, we found that they take more pressure to actuate, so not everyone will like these. And being that the grips add to the size of the Switch, it most likely won't fit into a normal carrying case, which is why they also sell the grip case in a kit with their large max carry case, but I'll talk about that and more in the review, which is coming soon. Now, if you want an alternative, there's the oddly similar Mio case, which we checked out in a previous video. Click the info card above or check the link in the description for more on that. To sum it up, it's about the same form factor at half the price, but the grips tend to pop off every once in a while, which is very, very annoying. On average, we get about 3 to 4 hours of battery life out of the Switch, which is why a battery charger is a great solution to extend it. That's why I suggest an external power bank that you can use for more than just the Switch. There's a lot of brands out there at different capacities, Anker being one of our favorites, but we found one that's perfect for the Switch and your other tech. This is the GuliKit. Gully? It's a 10,000 milliamp battery about the size of a smartphone, and it looks just about the same as others out there. You have a power button, power indication LEDs, USB-C in to charge the battery, USB-C out to charge your devices, but there's more. In the box, you get this thin adapter that snaps onto the back of the Switch, and that corresponds with the rail behind the battery. So you slide it in, and it safely locks into place. Now to charge, you don't need to carry an extra cable because it includes a detachable one at the bottom. You push out from the corner, and you connect it to your Switch, and you're good to go. Now, the only issue, if any, is that you can't clip it on if you have something like a Mumba case on your Switch, but you can still use the battery detached. So 10,000 milliamps should roughly give you an additional 10 hours of gameplay, and the best part is that it comes in this portable size that fits in larger carrying cases. Previously, we checked out the PowerA charging dock for the Joy-Cons, but recently I stumbled upon a different take on the same concept. This is the Bionic PowerPlate Duo. It comes with 2 4500 milliamp PowerPlate batteries with built-in display to check your power level and confirm what's connected. To charge them, you can use the USB-C port at the top or simply place them in the dock. While they're in there, you can also connect and charge your Joy-Cons. So the reason I love this system is because you can also use and charge the Joy-Cons while attached to the power plates, which serve as a grip. It almost feels like a mini Switch. Now, if that's not enough, Bionik also includes 2 carrying bags for each battery and 2 USB-C mini adapters. The idea here is that you can take these batteries along with your Switch kit if you ever need more juice. In theory, that's awesome, but in use, it's a bit problematic because you have to hold it against the Switch unless you use a longer cable. Not really a big deal, but honestly, it's better than nothing. Now, if you don't need all that, Bionik offers another version with just a single battery for 2 Joy-Cons, and they also have their own very nice looking Joy-Con charging station. Starting off with the super exciting game card case. We're always on the lookout for large capacity game card cases, but a lot of them out there are pretty small, like this Hori Pop and Go game case. It can hold up 6 game cards, 3 on each side, and they lock into place, and with a press of a button, they pop right out. But if you need more than 6 slots, then you should check out the Unikeep 28 game card case. It's a locking binder, which makes it easier to store or carry in a large bag, and it's available in 3 designs: a Switch version, abstract, and this retro one we have here. And no, the design isn't removable. I think it's actually printed directly on the case. Now inside we have a foam insert for 28 games, and for some reason 10 micro SD cards? I'm not sure about that. So the foam insert is glued on, and it works perfectly for games because they pop right in. The snug fit prevents them from falling out, and the cutout makes them easy to remove. It's a great solution for storage that also makes it easy to quickly pick out the game you want, but there's a few things that annoy me about it. Actually, right as we finished editing, we found a new version of this case that fixed every single issue we had by replacing the micro SD slots and adding a second foam insert so it can hold up to 60 games. It's a bit more expensive, and it sort of makes this one obsolete. Sucks for me, but at least now you know. These are rail covers. They protect the contacts on the rails and keep them clean of dust and debris. Now these are switchblades, and they're as niche as the videos in this series. Gravilogic sent these to us, and they're currently live on Kickstarter. To keep it simple, they're premium rail covers, but they go further than that. First, as you can see, they're decorative, and they're available in a variety of hardwoods, limited acrylic acetates, and an executive line with inlaid aluminum. They attach the same way as the Joy-Cons and lock into place with an easy-to-access latch at the top. So as you can see, they make your Switch look classy, like it belongs in a business meeting doing business things. No, but seriously, they look good and they protect the rails, but they're also functional. Over on the back, we have deployable kickstands, and these give you awesome viewing angles, which you can easily adjust. I was surprised as to how much I love that feature, because it's just way better than the default kickstand on the Switch. So if you're tired of your Switch looking lifeless and dull when docked or in tabletop mode, check out the Switchblades over on Kickstarter. Recently making the rounds is another hard protective case by Smatry. I think that's how you say it. I don't know, that thing kills me. We reviewed some of their TCG cases before, which is why we're excited to check this one out. Same as the rest, it's made of a tough and shock-absorbent TPU with a nice amount of flex. On the back, we have low-profile dimpled grips that work well, but they're very smooth in texture, which, for those of you with sweaty hands, may affect your grip. Then in the middle, we have a frosted back so you can show off the Switch logo, stickers, or whatever you'd like. So compared to the popular Mumba case, it's a little thinner, it's not as grippy, but it also has one big advantage. On the back, you have a cutout to access the kickstand, and you can also remove the Joy-Cons, which makes this case tabletop mode compatible. 3 thumbs up, I can definitely recommend this one. The Mumba protective case is by far one of the most popular cases to protect your Switch. So much so that just about every carrying case we check out is followed up with someone asking, will the Mumba case fit in it? Well, this year Mumba tackled that issue by releasing their own carrying case. It's available in 3 colors, and the exterior is made of a water-resistant textured EVA hardshell material with a nice linear design, similar to the case. On the corner, we have a detachable wrist strap to carry it around, and then we have a nice zipper pull to easily open the case.
Inside, we have a full mesh pocket at the top with enough room to store extra Joy-Cons, cables, games, or any other small accessories you may have. Down the middle, we have 2 cushioned microfiber flaps, and each has 10 transparent game slots, so you can carry a total of 20 games and actually see them. Then we have a slot for the Switch, which is of course large enough to fit with the attached Mumba case or any other similar case. So it's stylish, it's rugged, and yes, it'll fit the Mumba case. Also, they sent out 3 to give away, so stick around till the end for more on that. A few weeks ago, we found another way to carry your Switch on the go with Hori's Carry-All Bag. It's a small rectangular bag that you can carry either via the handle or the included shoulder straps, and it's available in 2 versions, Mario or this one right here, Zelda. So the bag opens diagonally, and inside you have enough room to carry the dock, the console with or without a case, your power cables, and extra Joy-Cons or a Switch grip, but we did find that it's a tight fit with the Joy-Cons attached, and you also have a mesh compartment in the back for smaller accessories. And yes, you can also throw in a Pro controller, but not in that slot. You gotta place it outside of it. Now, these compartments are actually an insert attached with Velcro, so you can remove it. That's not mentioned as a feature, but because of it, you can then use the bag to carry other things or break down the bag to a smaller size to store it. Then you can use the insert to keep your kit organized and ready to go. So if you're looking for a small, lightweight carry-all option, this one is definitely different and definitely worth considering. The Joy-Cons are crammed with all kinds of cool tech, but instead of a D-pad, we have buttons, so things like diagonal inputs can be difficult and it just doesn't feel the same. Well, Hori's back to save the day with their D-pad controller. It's available in 3 designs, Zelda, Mario, and the latest. To use it, you just slide it on and it simply works. But although it looks like a Joy-Con, it's missing 3 core features to keep the price low. First, it doesn't have a battery, which means it's not wireless and only works when connected to the Switch. So it's exclusive for handheld mode. Second, it doesn't have motion controls. And third, there's no HD rumble. But onto the D-pad. It's good. It's slightly concave in design and there's no texture to it, which makes it easy to navigate around. I also love the size of it. It's not too big, not too small, but it is positioned a bit low, which makes it feel cramped. And let's be honest, there's not much they can do about that. As for performance, we found it to be very accurate and responsive, especially with fighting games where you have to perfectly time diagonal inputs. So if you play a lot of fighting games, puzzle games, platformers, any game that can benefit from the precision of a D-pad, this is definitely worth having around. Smash Bros. Ultimate is just a few weeks away, and as is becoming tradition, Nintendo is once again re-releasing another edition of the legendary GameCube Controller. It's only available in black, and as you can see, it looks identical to the original, except for the longer cable. This one's 9 feet compared to the old, which is 6 feet, and the logo in the middle. Now, for the most part, everything feels just about the same, and apparently so are the internals, but then you still have some users reporting issues with quality control like stiff buttons or drifting. As for myself, I haven't had any problems. Using them side by side, the old and the new, I can't really tell the difference, but then again, I'm a casual player, so maybe I won't notice things like snapback, XY offsets, things like that. Now, if you're still on board, the last thing you'll need to use these with the Switch is the GameCube Controller adapter. It connects via 2 USB ports to the dock, and it allows you to connect up to 4 GameCube controllers, new or old. But if you had another adapter, you can connect up to 8 controllers and let the chaos begin. A lot of you have requested this next one for over a year, and this is the separate charging grip by GameTech. We had to import it from Japan and it's a bit pricey, but after using it, I think it's worth it. Now, unlike the official grip, this one snaps onto the Joy-Cons directly and charges them via micro USB. Now, the grips here are awesome. They're very large with a ton of space to rest your fingers on, and it just feels amazing in hand, very comfortable. But it gets better, because you can remove the Joy-Cons along with the awesome grips and use them individually or attach to the Switch in handheld mode. Love that versatility. But it's not perfect because the materials are just okay. The plastic feels a bit cheap and it would have been nice to see some texture or maybe rubber on the grips. Also, keep in mind that the Switch along with these grips won't fit in most carrying cases. That aside, we love this versatile grip. I don't know why I waited so long to pick it up. This next one just arrived at our door and I'm extremely excited about it. It's the Satisfye Limited Edition Holiday Bundle. Pre-orders are currently live on Satisfye's website. They ship out early December, but apparently they have limited quantities, so you may want to hurry.
Well, let me show you, Timmy.
Inside, we get their brand new slim case, and the name checks out because it's about half the size of their large premium case. It's wrapped in a nice gray fabric with a strap at the top and an easy-to-open zipper. Inside, we have a soft-lined interior, a flap to protect the screen with 10 game card slots, and beneath that, we have the Pro gaming grip, but this version comes in an awesome red with black TPE coated handles. Also included is their premium USB-C cable, along with 4 concave thumb grips. So this is more like 4 accessories in one, but it's not cheating, because it's a bundle. Yeah. We're also including this bundle in another video, so keep an eye out for that. And also, make sure to check out our review of the Pro Gaming Grip to see why it's our current favorite grip. Raising over $500,000 on Kickstarter, this little guy is Genki. It's a low-latency USB-C Bluetooth transmitter that upgrades your Switch so you can use it with wireless headphones. It connects to the port at the bottom of the Switch or to the dock with the optional USB adapter, and it's powered by the console, which means you don't have to worry about charging it. It's available in 2 options, by itself or in this awesome combo pack that includes the adapter along with a 3.5mm microphone, the USB-C to USB adapter for the dock, and a portable stand with clearance for the Genki adapter at the bottom. Now to use it, you simply connect it, pair it, and just like that, your Switch now has wireless audio with the latest low-latency aptX codecs. But unlike other adapters, Genki goes further with multi-broadcast that allows you to pair 2 Bluetooth devices at the same time. That feature is awesome for multiplayer in places where you just can't use the speakers. Now the only problem is that since it sticks out, it's vulnerable to bumps or hits, so you'll have to be careful with it, and because it connects flush with the console, it's not compatible with cases that surround the port too tightly. But in the end, the pros easily outweigh the cons. So if you're looking to add a solid Bluetooth connection with great range and versatility to your Switch, the Genki adapter is one of the best options on the market. So with Nintendo announcing the Labo VR kit, it seems that even they plan for the Switch to be worn in a headset. But if you want 3D, then check out the NS glasses by ExClimV. Raising over $90,000, this headset claims to add an immersive 3D experience to the Switch. Taking a look around, as you can see, it's pretty big, but it's also lightweight and well made. On the back, we have a soft, breathable cushion for your face, but it's not large enough to fit with glasses on unless they're really small. Next, we have a Velcro adjustable headband, very elasticy to suit small to massive heads. Now over to the front, we have the tray for the Switch. Very simple design, it snaps in at the top and the Switch connects to the pegs at the bottom, and the edges are covered in this soft foam to protect the screen. Once in there, you still have access to all the ports in I/O, so yes, you can play while charging with headphones on, but if not, don't worry, there's also clearance for the speakers. Alright, so wearing it is pretty comfortable, but about 30 minutes in and the additional weight from the Switch did become uncomfortable. So to avoid that, you can use them laying down so it sits above your head in a balanced way, or staring down at them, but you can also use it with the Joy-Cons attached to hold up some of the weight. In practice, it looks hilariously awkward, but then again, so does any headset, to be honest. Now, the 3D effect is created by an infinity stone. No, it's not. It's actually created by a single lens. That means there's no electronics that can break or batteries that need charging, and you don't have to adjust focus. Now, the experience is difficult to show on camera, but it's like a poor man's Ready Player One headset. It feels like you're inside a corridor staring at a huge screen, and the lens in there creates this slight rounded distortion with a subtle 3D effect. So at least for us, yes, it works. It makes games like Breath of the Wild or Dark Souls feel even more epic, and it gets rid of distractions so you can focus. All of this at the cost of looking very odd. When it comes to carry-alls, you have backpacks, messengers, and a ton of hard shell cases, but this one is very unique. This is the Storage Travel Bag by Tomtoc. Unlike other bags, this one isn't as protective because it's more of an insert that can go in a backpack or your luggage with the option to carry it by itself with the shoulder straps or the handle at the top. Looking around, on the front, we have a water-resistant fabric with dark outlines of the Switch kit. Now inside, we have roomy, elastic mesh pockets and compartments. There's enough room for the official dock, charging cables or the AC adapter, a strap for a grip with Joy-Cons attached, or a Pro controller, and one for the Switch. It can also fit with a protective case or Tomtoc slim case, but it's not roomy enough to fit with a larger grip. Then on the other side, we have a large compartment that can fit 2, maybe 3 Pro controllers or a ton of Joy-Cons, along with a battery bank, adapters, games, and other accessories like that. So as an insert, it's not as protective, but it makes for a very nice, lightweight yet roomy carry-all for the Switch. We've mentioned Joy-Con grips before, but these next ones are by far the best we've tested. This is the Grip Kit by Mumba. So these have a very linear design with reflective lines throughout and very ergonomic curves on the handles. It's constructed of a smooth ABS plastic that slides right into your hands, but I wish they added some rubber to the back of these handles to help keep your grip. Regardless, we've never had them slip around during use, but if you have sweaty hands, it might work against you. So the slot for the Joy-Con has rubber at the top to keep the controller in place, and it has these sections that push down on the SL and SR buttons. Either Joy-Con can fit, and you just slide it in from the top and push the bottom in. You'll notice that they're still a bit offset due to the design of the Joy-Cons themselves, but this makes them feel way better in hand compared to using them with just the wrist straps. They're by far the most ergonomic grips we've tried, and it's perfect for just about any hand size. Finally, when you're done, you can just press on the lower back of the grip and the Joy-Cons pop right off. So if you're always using the Joy-Cons individually for multiplayer, I would highly recommend you take a look at the Mumba Grip Kit. Now, if you're looking for Joy-Con grips to use together as a pair, we've previously checked out the separate charging grip by GameTech, but they're a bit pricey since you have to import them. Now, recently we came across a similar option by Butterfox. First thing you'll notice is that they're extra thick. The design feels exaggerated with these very long shoulder buttons and wide curvaceous grips that extrude towards the sides instead of the back. They're made of a smooth ABS plastic that, same as with Mumba's, I wish had some type of rubber to help with your grip. Now installing them is a bit tricky. You first insert the shoulder buttons and then violently snap the bottom into place. Now you can try to slide them in from the sides as I first did, and it will work, but the curves on the grips can actually scratch the Joy-Con, so be careful. Once attached, they work well in handheld mode, but they're also dock compatible. Finally, to remove them, you need to have them attached to the Switch. Then, you grab the grips from the side, push outwards and down. Takes a bit of time to get used to, but they suggest keeping them on an extra pair to avoid damaging the Joy-Cons from constantly installing and removing them. But that sort of says a lot, doesn't it? Alright, so overall, they feel good and do enhance the ergonomics of the Joy-Cons, but it's a love-hate relationship because I really don't like that they replace the shoulder buttons, and they're very harsh to install and remove. Oh, almost forgot, each grip also has a little slot for a game if you know, you want to put a game in there. So the collector in me finally caved and pulled the trigger on Nintendo's official NES Switch controllers. These launched alongside the paid Nintendo Switch online subscription service that includes a growing library of classic NES games. Also, you can only purchase them if you're a subscriber, so keep that in mind. Now, they look identical to the originals, same colors and button placement except, you know, they're wireless, but also at the top, they have the same rail as the Joy-Cons. That's because they charge when connected to the Switch in this very awkward first-gen Apple Pencil way. Now, for those wondering, yes, they actually work when attached, but they're limited to the functionality of a single NES controller. Now, for NES games, it's perfect. It just takes you back in time. They work exactly as you remember, very nostalgic. We've been playing a lot of The Adventure of Link, and yes, it's just as infuriating as I remember, but these controllers are also great for other classic-style games that don't need more than a D-pad and 2 buttons. The next two are slightly different products in the same category, and that's replacement shells for the Pro controller. But why not the ones for the Switch? Because I'm a coward, but we'll probably do those next. First up is by Mass Carry. It's for the main body and they're available in 5 colors. Aside from the shell, it also includes replacement buttons in blue, red, yellow, and green, but we chose to stick to the originals. Now, installation is a bit annoying because instructions are not included and the Pro controller has a ton of screws, but it's doable. The first one took a little over 15 minutes, but it was much faster the second time around. Just take it slow, one screw at a time, and keep everything organized so you can then put it back together. Similar to the original shell, these have that transparent look that it looks awesome and really stands out. Perfect for B-roll. Next is, I don't know how to pronounce this one, Menia? I don't know, but instead of the body, these are replacement grips. They're extremely simple to install since a grip is held together by just one screw. But still, be careful because you do not want to strip them. Being that we have that green shell, it only made sense to go with the yellow grips to match our colors. But we also found that it looks really cool if you only add one. It's like an accent color. Now, these do feel different than the original Pro controller grips. Those are made of what feels like a softish plastic, almost like rubber with tiny dimples throughout, but these grips are more of a smooth, hard plastic with a type of wavish texture on them, but they work just as well. Next up, with over 8,000 backers who pledged $140,000, is the Flip Grip by Fangamer. This well-designed piece of plastic provides a convenient way to rotate the Switch 90 degrees while keeping the Joy-Cons attached for games with a vertical mode. Down the middle, we have 4 soft pads to protect the console while at the same time making it easy to slide in. Then on the right, we have a small rubber piece that fits into the back vent to keep the Switch in place. So following the diagram in the center, you position the Switch the right way and then slide it in. To remove it, you lift the release tab on the back, which lifts the rubber stopper out of the vent so it can slide out. Finally, you slide the Joy-Cons into these tracks until they lock into place. Keep in mind that they're not physically connected to the Switch. They're in wireless mode, so they won't charge. Looking around, although we still have access to the headphone port and game card slot, we lose access to the USB-C port, which means no charging, and the power and volume buttons are also blocked off. But that's okay, because the home button is all we need. By holding it, you can wake up the Switch, and then holding it down gives you access to the side menu. Here, you can put the Switch back to sleep, and you also have volume and brightness adjustments. So next, you'll of course need a compatible game. There's currently a little over 20 games in the eShop that support vertical mode, and you'll have to enable it in the settings or options menu. After that, sit back and enjoy. Unless you're playing Ikaruga. At that point, just do your best to contain your rage so you can avoid throwing your Switch at the wall! Because you can never have enough bags for the Switch, this is the Hori Go Pack. It's a small sling bag with enough room to carry the essentials, and it's available in both Mario and Zelda designs. On the back, you have breathable mesh padding along with a single adjustable strap. We have 2 compartments. The first opens up about a quarter of the way, and it's very roomy. It can fit a Playstand, battery bank, charging cables, Joy-Cons, games, things like that, but it's actually large enough to fit the official Switch dock. Yes, that thing fits in there. Now, the main compartment has a slot for the Switch that's made of a soft plush to protect the screen, and yes, it's roomy enough to fit along with an attached protective case. Once inside, you'll still have space for something like cables, a stand, or battery bank, but nothing too bulky like, ironically, the AC adapter that some of you will need for the dock. So if you want a small, lightweight bag to carry your Switch essentials on the go, check out the Go Pack. You get it? Previously, we checked out Hori's D-pad controller, but next up is an option to simply convert the directional buttons on the Joy-Cons into a pad with Skull & Company's Joy-Con D-pad and button caps. The name says it all, they're just caps that go on the buttons. Very low-tech fix. There's 2 types. You have the normal D-pad, and then you have a rounded D-pad. They also include colored caps for the face buttons, but that's more decorative than it is useful. At first, I thought you'd simply place these on top and you're done, but it's not that easy. As the instructions state, you have to place the included double-sided tape on each button, which are very tiny and annoying to peel. You then take the cap you want and stick it on top. At first glance, it looks pretty legit and feels like it might work, until you get in game. we experienced a ton of accidental inputs. We'd press down, it actually go down and left. Press right, and it goes right and down. At first we thought we did it wrong, so we tried the rounded D-pad as well, and it's the same thing. We couldn't pull off any specific moves, and it's not just in fighters. Even in Binding of Isaac, you can see that we press down, but it registers a diagonal down and right instead. So I like the concept, but the execution is lacking. So if you really want a D-pad, check out Hori's or a Pro controller or something similar. Since we chose to go physical, we've been cursed to always walk the earth with a game card case. There's a ton of them out there and we're putting together a video to show you all of them, but our current favorite is by BagTu? It's a small stainless steel case and it opens at an angle. Why? I don't know, but the inside is lined with 2 foam inserts with cutouts for 8 game cards and 2 micro SD cards. Everything stays securely in place, the case locks closed, and the button on the front makes it easy to open. It's a very slick and simple solution, plus it's very fun to fidget with. Sorry. Next up, we featured this controller in our last video and had to add it to this list. This is PowerA's wireless GameCube controller. To keep it short, it feels almost identical to the OG GameCube controller and with a very similar layout except for a few additions. We have the capture, home, plus, and minus buttons in the center. At the top, instead of a single Z button, we have 2 L and R buttons with the triggers for Z, L, and ZR. And unlike the original, the analog and C sticks click in as buttons. Now, a few cons. First, it's not rechargeable. It runs off of 2 AA batteries, which last 30 hours. Next, it doesn't have rumble or NFC for Amiibo. Finally, the triggers are digital, not analog, which is a bummer, but to be honest, little to no games make use of it on the Switch. Cons aside, it remains a favorite due to the nostalgic, the legendary GameCube design that just works so well, especially for Smash Brothers. Also, that little D-pad is actually very solid for fighting games. Now, we spend a lot of time searching for the latest and greatest stuff for you guys, and every once in a while we stumble upon a truly hidden gem. This is the SwitchPad Pro wireless controller by Surge. And I'm gonna say it on the record, this is the current best Pro controller alternative out there. Here's the quick rundown. It has the same button layout as the Pro controller, but it weighs less and the ergonomics feel slightly better in hand. On top of that, it has a 20-hour rechargeable battery, the strongest rumble we've experienced, and it also has motion controls. The construction is solid, but with a generic design. The buttons are made of a glossy plastic that makes the D-pad much easier to navigate. It also has a turbo function and 4 extra buttons on the back that you can program with macros. All that for $30. What? Yeah, this is crazy. If you haven't seen it everywhere by now, you will after this video, and I have a feeling that it's gonna sell out once word gets out, same as when we showed you the Bionic commuter bag for the first time. So I'll have links for it down in the description below. Good luck. When it comes to thin protective cases, Waterfield's pouch and Tomtoc's Ultra Slim case are at the top of the list, but out of nowhere, Lowepro, makers of some of the most popular camera bags, released the Switch Wrap. It's part of their Gear Up series, and as the name implies, it's a wrap made of nylon that's held together by this aluminum clasp, which you can attach to any of these loops. Now inside, it's pretty bare bones. You have 8 game card or SD card slots at the top, and the Switch is held securely in these 2 elastic slots. And yes, it also fits with a protective case like Mumba's or Smottry's. Finally, at the bottom, you have thick padding to protect the screen, and it gives the analog sticks enough room to breathe. So if you want the thinnest case to protect your Switch when taking it on the go, Lowpro's Switch Wrap will not disappoint. I don't know why, but almost no one takes advantage of the fact that you can reduce the size of the Switch by removing the Joy-Cons. Waterfield Designs did so with their arcade case, which I believe they phased out, but finally, PDP has stepped up to the plate with their Play and Charge console case. Like their latest products, it's made of a durable gray fabric with black pleather details, and it's much smaller because it's meant to store the Switch without the Joy-Cons attached. So the controllers go in the slot on the left, and you have an extra one on the right for additional accessories, extra Joy-Cons, whatever, and then the console goes right on top. Then we have a protective screen flap that can also hold 6 game cards, but it also acts as a stand that sits on these rails so you can charge and play the Switch in tabletop mode. We love it. Now, when it comes to batteries, our go-to is GuliKit's power bank, but a lot of you have been requesting a battery case for the Switch, so we recently came across this one by Ugreen. It has a 10,000 milliamp capacity, which should give you an extra 6 to 10 hours of game time, and it has the same standard output as the officially licensed Anker battery. So it's the same size as the console itself, excluding the Joy-Cons, and to connect it, you just slide it into the USB-C port and snap it in at the top. Once in there, we still have access to all the I/O, along with cutouts for vents at the top. On the side, we have the power button and battery indicator LEDs, and at the top you have a USB-A output so you can also charge another device like your phone or tablet. And that micro USB port is so you can charge the battery itself. So in handheld mode, it does add a bit of bulk, but it's still pretty lightweight, and it also has a stand on the back so you can charge and play in tabletop mode. It seems a new one's released every other month, so we're back with another grip. This one is by the difficult-to-pronounce Lamco, and like the name, it's a little weird. It's a single piece that's made of a treated plastic that feels like a very nice soft mat. To install it, you push it up against these retractable top rails, align the USB-C port, and slide it in. The design is very cool and unique. You have cutouts for both sets of vents and access to most of your I/O, except for the game card slot and kickstand. Now, why does it have a USB-C port? Well, apparently it was originally designed to work with a battery that would attach in the back slot, and it connects via these pins, which would then charge the Switch. I'm guessing they ran into a problem though, because although the product page has images of it, they still haven't released it. So now if you want to charge the Switch, you can use that port at the bottom, but regardless, the ergonomics feel good in hand, and I do like the design of this grip. Quick update, we just found a better identical version of this grip that includes a game card case and a stand, so I'll link that one in the description below instead. Way back in the first episode of this series, we checked out the Hori Compact Playstand, which is a simple, portable solution to charge and play the Switch in tabletop mode. But since then, they've updated the concept with their multi-port USB Playstand. With the push of a button, you have a large range of viewing angles that lock into place, along with rubber feet to keep it from moving around. It's AC powered to both charge the Switch and power 4 USB ports, all from the side so they don't get in the way. So this hub is perfect for everything from wired controllers, a keyboard, fight stick, a headset, an Ethernet adapter, and more. This is definitely the best way to play in tabletop mode with friends, and when you're done, it folds up into a nice portable size. Next up, you've all seen them and can't stop commenting about them, and that's our black Joy-Cons. Now, there are official black Joy-Cons, but those are only for development kits. These are custom ones from Colorware. They take hardware ranging from phones, laptop, consoles, etc., and customize them in a ton of different colors. As for the Switch, you can buy and customize the full console or individual pieces like just the dock or Joy-Cons, and even the Pro Controller. They offer a large variety of colors in either solid or metallic, so why did we go with the least exciting color? Well, that's just because black works best when we're reviewing and displaying all these Switch accessories, but also, I just love that blacked out matte look, and I think a lot of you agree. Let me know in the comments. This next one keeps popping up in video after video, but it's by Bionik, who makes some of the best high-quality Switch accessories. This is the TV Lynx, a portable charge and connect kit, but it's pretty much a third-party dock. So before I get into it, PSA. No third-party dock is 100% safe. The Switch isn't USB-C compliant, so using anything other than the official dock means you risk bricking your Switch. So now you know, and of course I did reach out to them and they responded with this statement. To summarize, they've thoroughly tested the TV Lynx with the Switch, and their dynamic power adapter helps adjust to the power requirements it needs. I'm not an engineer, I'm not an expert, but during our use, we've had no problem with it. It's been fine for us. To keep it short, the kit is pretty much just a bunch of high-quality braided cables, which you can use as a normal USB-C charging cable for the Switch or other devices. Then, if you want to connect it to the TV, you simply use the HDMI cable. As I said, we've had no problem with it, but that doesn't guarantee the same for everyone else. Then, when you're done, you can wrap it all together with the included Velcro strap, which makes it easy to travel with. First up is the highly requested SwitchPad Pro by Hori. These chunky Joy-Con alternatives give handheld mode a full-size controller upgrade. First thing you'll notice is that they're big. I'm talking Game Gear big. Although the build quality is pretty solid, they feel a bit hollow, and that's because unlike the Joy-Cons, these don't have batteries. Instead, they're powered by the Switch, which means they only work in handheld mode. Once attached, it makes the Switch look massive and really wide, which kills off its portability, but feels so much better in hand due to their size and the grips on the back, which are subtle with a nice texture that makes them easy to hold. Another factor is that everything on them is bigger. We have large trigger, shoulder, and face buttons along with wide analog sticks, but don't worry, the D-pad is normally sized. Then we have a few other features. There's an on-the-fly turbo button which works really well and you can change the speed of. Then on the back we have 2 extra buttons which you can assign buttons to. And finally, this thing is dock compatible. Alright, all that's great, but there are a few things missing, such as NFC for Amiibo, the IR camera, HD rumble, and the biggest bummer, motion controls. So with the SwitchPad Pro, you're trading off those things for a more traditional and comfortable gaming experience, but to be honest, it does feel worth it. Next, one of our favorite carrying cases for the Switch is back with a powerful upgrade. This is the Bionic Power Commuter. Same as the original, we have that discreet tactical look with water-resistant materials, the unique flap loop on the back so you can attach it to other bags, the same soft padded console compartment large enough to fit with a medium-sized grip, and accessories compartment for games, Joy-Cons, and cables. Overall, it's just about identical to the original, except for one big new addition. Behind this flap, we have a removable 10,000 mAh battery, which can charge the Switch a little over 2 times. As you can see, it's pretty large, and that's to suit the size of the bag. Good news is that it's also slim and lightweight. On the bottom right, we have a button with 4 charging indicator LEDs, and on the side, we have a port to charge it via micro USB and a USB output to charge other devices like your phone, tablet, or whatever. Now to charge the Switch, it has an integrated flat USB-C cable. So the battery lives in this mesh pocket, and when you need it, you just pull out the cable and start charging. Very convenient, especially for trips when you need the extra juice. Steelseries has tried to tackle the wireless headset for the Switch before with the Arctis 3, but the method between modes was confusing for most users. But now, they're back with a simplified process with the Arctis 1 Wireless. As the name implies, it's a wireless headset with comfortable Airweave ear cushions, on-ear controls, a detachable microphone that I wish was integrated, and a hefty 24-hour battery life. It can also be used wired with the included 3.5mm cable, and it has multi-platform support so you can use it with all your consoles and devices. All of this revolves around their new tiny USB-C dongle. The idea is simple. Turn on the headset, plug the dongle into the Switch, and you're good to go. If you want to use it on another device such as the Switch Lite, because it doesn't need the pegs to connect, you just attach it and you're all set. Reason we love this is because the lack of Bluetooth audio on the Switch is a major oversight, but with the Arctis 1 Wireless, you just plug in the adapter and you get awesome sound along with a great microphone for chat that you can use in any mode. It's our current favorite, it's just about perfect except for 2 things. 1, the dongle does get a little warm, so be careful with it. And 2, you can't lose that dongle, because if you do, the entire headset becomes pretty useless. Following 8BitDo's popular SN30 Pro is the SN30 Pro Plus. We went with the blacked out version, but they also have Super Nintendo and Game Boy editions. Like the previous iteration, it's retro-inspired with the same button layout along with centered analog sticks, a turbo function, and one of the best D-pads we've come across. But the Plus adds a few new features such as these grips that enhance the ergonomics, curved-out analog trigger buttons that are easy to use, and it's completely customizable via their new Ultimate software. On top of that, like most of 8BitDo's controllers, it's also compatible with multiple platforms. That altogether makes this one of the best controllers for the Switch, and if you want all the details, watch our full review by clicking the info card above or the link in the description below. For those of you who love fighting or retro games but want something a bit smaller than a fight stick, this is PowerA's Fusion Wired Fight Pad. The design is inspired by the Sega Saturn gamepad that they say is revered by fight game enthusiasts.
It definitely has that retro vibe with this wide shape and subtle grips on the back. Overall, it feels really good in hand. It has a 6-button arcade-style layout, which is best for fighters, so you can have all your light, medium, heavy punches and kicks in one area instead of splitting it into the shoulder buttons. In use, they're pretty firm with a short travel distance, and so far have been very responsive. Then we have a floating D-pad, which is really fluid and precise. Aside from that, it also has a few other features such as a removable cable, 3 swappable magnetic faceplates, a 3.5mm audio jack at the bottom, and on-the-fly customizable toggle switches for the D-pad and right shoulder button. So if you want an easy way to enhance fighting and retro games, definitely give it a try. Mumba, makers of the most protective cases for the Switch, is back with 2 new additions. First is the blade case. We featured it before. It has a similar vibe to their previous versions, and it's made with top-of-the-line premium materials that can protect against scratches, bumps, and even drops. We still have all the necessary cutouts except for the kickstand and IR reader, but this time around we have 2 new additions. First are the grips. In hand, they feel great. They're subtle with a nice angular design that has both smooth and matte textures to help keep your grip. Next, the Joy-cons are removable, which makes this case dock compatible. Just keep in mind, you may have to use a bit of force to do so. Overall, it's one of the best looking, protective, and dock compatible cases out there. Next is the larger battle case. It has a similar techie design and the same rugged materials with the addition of this glossy plastic. The grips are also different. These stick out towards the bottom and extrude more on the back. They feel good to hold and at the same time provide some good shock absorption. Now, unlike the blade case, this one cannot dock. It's just too thick, but it is tabletop mode compatible. You just remove the Joy-cons and pop out the extra large kickstand on the back. So both of these cases are awesome for handheld mode, but just keep in mind that the blade case is meant to work in TV mode, while the bigger battle case is meant for tabletop mode. Next up is a minimalist backpack to carry the full Nintendo Switch kit. This is Controller Gear's Zelda Switch Backpack. It's very clean with a classic look similar to JanSport or Herschel backpacks with that simple 2-pocket system. It's black with caramel straps and gray icons all throughout. On the front, we have a simple large pocket, nothing special there. But in the main compartment, we have a lot. It opens halfway, and starting off, we have a 15.6-inch laptop sleeve. Then on top of it, we have a padded Velcro pouch for the Switch. It's not large enough to fit with something like a grip, but it should be fine with thin carrying cases and of course by itself. Under that flap, there's 8 elastic game card sleeves. Now at the bottom, it's difficult to show, but we have an elastic pocket for things like the AC adapter and your cables. And next to that, we have a long elastic band for the official dock. Overall, it's a discreet bag to carry the full Switch kit that you can also use as a normal backpack, but it's not gonna blow you away. The construction, the build quality is subpar, and it would have been nice to have some more premium materials and weatherproofing, but regardless, it gets the job done. This next one is iPega's Tomahawk Gamepad. They make a ton of similar looking Android gamepads, so this is their first Nintendo Switch version. It connects via USB-C, and same as the SwitchPad Pro, it makes the Switch look huge, but those large grips make it much more ergonomic than the Joy-cons. In hand, it feels pretty good, but not as premium as it looks due to this hollow plastic they went with. The layout is also a bit different with the analog sticks at the top, face buttons on the bottom right, and all your other buttons on the lower half. As for how they work, it's a love-hate relationship because they are responsive, but some of them, like the trigger, shoulder, start, and select buttons, feel very cheap. The face buttons are fine, but the analog sticks are a little looser than I'd like, and they have noticeable dead zones that you can really feel when you're aiming and trying to be very accurate. That alone will be a deal breaker for a majority of you. As for the D-pad, we've also had issues there with the occasional missed or incorrect inputs, especially when traveling from one end of it to the other. Also, I wish these edges were rounded down a little bit more. Finally, same as the SwitchPad Pro, it also lacks NFC for Amiibo, the IR camera, HD rumble, and motion controls, but also there's no USB-C pass-through, so you can't charge the Switch with it attached.
For those of you who mainly play in handheld mode and want to enhance both the battery life and ergonomics of the Switch, I present to you Big Blue's battery case. It's made up of two parts. First is the Joy-Con grips. Inside each, you can store both a game and micro SD card, and they pop right on. Next is the battery case. To install, you just lift up the top, slide the Switch into the USB-C port, and close it in. Together, this thing is a tank and definitely adds some weight to the console. But that's mostly due to the large 10,000 mAh battery that can charge the Switch a little over 2 times. On the back, we have a power button, LEDs, a USB-C input to charge it, and a USB output to charge additional devices. Next to it, we have a nice and wide kickstand so you can remove the Joy-Cons to use in tabletop mode. As for the Joy-Con grips, you have to make sure you attach them correctly because if not, they can pop off, but overall, they feel very good in hand and I like the plastic they used. So if you're constantly on the go and want to add more battery life to the Switch along with a better grip, this might just be the fix you need. One of the Switch Lite's best features is its portable size, but unlike the 3DS which can close in on itself to keep everything in there safe, to protect the Lite's screen and analog sticks, you're gonna have to use something like a carrying case or our current favorite, the official flip cover. It's a minimalist and stylish hardshell case wrapped in a durable gray fabric that feels great in hand while also providing a good amount of protection. The console pops right in and the cover has a magnetic closure with just the right amount of strength. As you can see, it adds little to no bulk, it's very low profile, and we love how it looks with this minimalist design. Over on the back, we have cutouts for the vents. Below that, another to charge it, and easily open it. Now, when using the Switch, it sort of hangs out and flaps around, not a big deal, but worth mentioning because I know it might annoy some of you. Also, no, you can't use it as a stand. As for protection, mostly everything is covered including the analog sticks via these indents, but the shoulder and trigger buttons remain exposed. So it should be fine bumping around your bag, but I wouldn't be surprised if those corners took some damage after a drop. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple and to the point, but makes it so you can both protect your Switch Lite while still having quick access to it. To celebrate the release of Animal Crossing New Horizons, Hori's releasing a ton of accessories, many of which are slowly being shipped our way, but we did get our hands on the Aloha edition of their carrying case. It's available for both the Switch and Switch Lite, this one being the latter, and it's wrapped in that iconic Animal Crossing leaf pattern, colorized in white, light blue, and turquoise. As for protection, it's not hard shell, but it is rugged enough to defend against bumps and light drops. To get in there, we have a hideaway zipper, and inside it's pretty bare bones. At the bottom, we have the slot for the Switch Lite, and then a screen protecting flap with 8 game card slots on the other side. Now above that, we have a net for accessories, but as you'll notice, since the case is about a perfect fit, there's not much that can go in there outside of something like a charging cable or earbuds. And even that is a bit much. So if you're an Animal Crossing fan looking for a stylish minimalist case and don't mind the lack of storage inside, it's worth checking out. And as I said, we do have other Animal Crossing products headed our way, which Kate is going to take a closer look at, so keep an eye out for that and follow us on Instagram so she can keep you posted. This is the 3-Up Sling Bag by Villager. It's a stylish Switch bag that reminds me of a puffer jacket with retro 80s aesthetics. When it comes to design and construction, the 3-Up is top notch. It's made with a handful of premium materials with a lot of attention to detail, and the price sort of reflects that. The exterior is made of a water-resistant nylon and weaved fabrics. There's large YKK zippers for each compartment. And on the front, we have a D-ring for things like your keys or keychains. To carry it, the 3-Up comes with a lanyard and an adjustable shoulder strap. Both attach via this fastener or screw on the back, which is a decent idea, but you gotta be careful because it's pretty easy to lose. And once you do, this feature is pretty much useless. Now inside, the first compartment is lined with a smooth ripstop nylon, and we have 3 slots that work well for Joy-Cons, earbuds, a game card case, a small power bank, things like that, but I do wish these compartments were adjustable to fit more things. Then all the way on the back, we have a flat pocket, which we normally use for our phone or a notebook. Finally, we have a wide opening main compartment for the Switch that is lined with a soft, heathered fabric surrounded by thick, impact-resistant foam to protect the Switch. In here, we also have a screen protecting divider with 10 game card slots. And last but not least, up on the other side, we have a little port so you can charge the Switch with a power bank on the other side. So if you're looking for a stylish bag to carry your Switch and the essentials that will last past this console's lifetime, the 3UP is definitely worth checking out. Since the last episode, 8BitDo has released 2 new gamepads for the Switch, so let's check those out. First up, if you hate Joy-Con drift, well, you're gonna love 8BitDo's Lite gamepad. It's a portable pocket-sized controller with not 1, but 2 D-pads. But before we talk about those, things you should know. It's wireless with an 18-hour battery life, charges via USB-C, you've got 2 modes, either for the Switch or X input, so yes, it's multi-platform compatible. Then we have a turbo mode, but sadly not for the Switch, it's only for X input. Now the shape is similar to the Switch, but as someone with big hands, it's not the most ergonomic. This leads to moments where my grip would cause me to accidentally hit L and R due to their elongated shape, and the left D-pad was difficult to use precisely unless I moved my fingers behind the gamepad. Next, the layout is almost identical to the Switch with the same amount of buttons, including L3 and R3 on the D-pad, but pressing them in can cause accidental inputs. Then, instead of triggers, R2 and L2 are in line with L and R, and every single button, including the D-pads, are clicky, similar to the face buttons on the Joy-Cons, so you can feel every single actuation. Alright, on to the D-pads. On the Switch, these emulate analog sticks, but they only have 8 points of input, no pivot, and they're digital. So unlike an analog stick, they're not the best for games that require precise incremental movements for something like aiming or camera controls. So it's a unique experience with those games, but it's not meant for them. Instead, it's better for 2D fighting games, beat-em-ups, platformers, puzzle games, etc. As for the extra D-pad, the idea seems very niche, and I don't think most people will make use of it, but at this price point, it makes for an awesome little retro pad to take on the go. For those looking for the most portable retro controller out there, look no further than 8BitDo's 02. This latest version of the gamepad improves on a handful of things while keeping that adorable miniature form factor. It's available in 3 colors to match the Switch Lite, but it's also multi-platform compatible. Things you should know: it's a little under 2.5 inches and weighs in at just 20 grams. It's wireless, it has an indicator LED at the bottom, an 8-hour battery which charges via micro USB, sadly not USB-C, and it also comes with a silicone wrist lanyard, but you can do as we did and instead attach a keychain so you can hang it on your bag or keys. Now the D-pad and face buttons are mushy, while the L, R, select, and start buttons are clicky. Overall, they work well, no complaints there, but due to its small size, it's not the most ergonomic controller out there, which makes using the shoulder buttons a bit difficult with that grip. But on the other hand, that size makes it perfect to just leave it in your carrying case so it's ready whenever you need it. Now, when using it with the Switch, keep in mind that it doesn't have ZL, ZR, capture, or home buttons, and obviously no analog sticks, so it's not compatible with games that require those. Instead, this tiny gamepad is best for retro games such as 2D platformers, beat-em-ups, fighters, and they specifically targeted Nintendo's NES and SNES game library by including a button combination for ZL and ZR by pressing in both select and start so you can access that suspend menu. In the end, this makes for an awesome little retro game companion, especially for those who don't want to buy extra Joy-Cons. We're huge Mario Kart fans here. It's one of our favorite multiplayer games, and in last year's gift guide, we mentioned Hori's Mario Kart Racing Wheel Pro Mini that gives you a fun, immersive way to race, which we said this about.
Right off the bat, it looks like a toy, and it pretty much is. It's plasticky, but the wheel works well, it's very springy and responsive, and I like that the pedals are optional. Now the whole thing is pretty small, so if you're an adult child like myself, you're probably better off with the deluxe version, which is larger with a more modern design.
Since then, we did get our hands on the deluxe version, which upgrades just about everything. It's larger. Same goes for the foot pedals, which are full size with way better resistance. Back to the wheel, it's wrapped in rubber to increase your grip. It has a better button layout. They've also added ZR and ZL buttons to the wheel itself. The paddles on the back are bigger and clicky, and you have 2 mounting options to choose from. Overall, it's a very cool peripheral that makes it feel like you're playing the arcade version of Mario Kart, and keep in mind, you can also use it with other racing games, including from other platforms. Charging grips are a great way to extend the life of the Switch while also improving on the ergonomics of it. We've checked out a few in the past, but the Charge Play Clutch by HyperX brings a few new features to the table. It's made up of 3 pieces: The first in the center is this 6000 milliamp battery, which gives you an extra 5 hours of playtime. At the bottom, we have a USB-C connection and a latch at the top to secure the console. On the back, we have a power button and 4 charging indicator LEDs. To the right of it, we have a USB-C port to charge the battery, and above that, we have a kickstand that you can use in multiple angles. Next, we have 2 Joy-Con grips which magnetically connect together, and both have nice textured ergonomic grips that feel great in hand. To use them in tabletop mode, either together or individually, you gotta use the pop-up rails to hold the Joy-Cons in place, and you're good to go. Next, for handheld mode, you have to remove the Joy-Cons, drop the rails, attach the grips to the battery, and slide the Joy-Cons on the Switch. And yes, if you change between modes a lot, that will get a bit tedious. Now, in use, the grips feel better, but it does add some weight to the Switch. So if that bothers you, you can just attach it when your battery's running low, or simply use it in tabletop mode. That aside, the benefit of an extra 5 hours of battery life along with a better grip definitely make the Charge Play clutch an option worth considering. If you want to get a better grip on the Switch Lite, you can't do better than those by Satisfye and Skull & Co. As someone with big hands, I have a lot of love for Satisfye's original Switch Grip, but their smaller Switch Grip Lite, or I believe it's now called their Zen Grip Lite, is just as awesome. It's currently only available in white, which nicely complements the buttons on the normal Switch Lite, and it's pretty much a shrunken down version of the original along with the same features. That being the asymmetrical design to better align your thumb with the right analog stick, which does help reduce fatigue. Those large textured grips that enhance the ergonomics and make it feel really good in hand. What they call their float design, where the inner silicone tabs prevent the Switch from touching or scraping against the grip. Plus, it can also stand on its own so you can charge it with an angled cable and use it in tabletop mode, albeit not in the best angle. Now, as soon as you hold it, the Zen Grip Lite just feels right. And it makes the Switch Lite way more comfortable to use for a longer period of time, which is why it's a personal favorite. Now, because it does make the Switch Lite bigger, it won't fit in a normal carrying case, which is why they also sell it in 2 bundles. The first is their Slim bundle with a minimalist, low-profile case, and the second is their Elite bundle, perfect for those who want to carry it along with a few accessories. Skull & Co.'s original grip case for the Switch became popular because it both provided protection along with interchangeable grips, and the same applies to their latest GripCase Lite. This time around, we now have a transparent soft TPU case so you can show off the color or design of your Switch Lite, and it has cutouts for everything except the microSD card slot. So the back and each side is protected, same as the original grip case. That also includes the shoulder buttons, which, love it or hate it, changes how they feel, but should provide a good amount of protection against drops. So we have 3 sets of grips. The Snap Grip is low profile with lines throughout, which makes it easy to hold. The Plus Grip is larger and rounded out to fill your hand. And the Trigger Grip is about the same size, but with a spot to rest your finger on. Attaching them is different than the previous version as well, with a sliding system instead of clips. It's pretty straightforward, but can be a bit tricky if you don't line them up perfectly. Also, keep in mind that you can mix and match these to whatever suits you best. Very cool. Now, because of the size of the larger grips, it won't fit into most carrying cases, which is why they also sell a bundle with their Max Carry Case Lite. So if you're looking to both protect your Switch Lite and enhance its ergonomics with interchangeable grips, we can safely recommend Skull & Co.'s GripCase Lite. We've tested a ton of Joy-Con grips, but this next one is the most versatile we've come across. This is the GamePal Multifunction Joy-Con Grip. So first thing you'll notice is that it looks and feels cheap. Just being honest, but one thing they did right was nail functionality. So there's 2 parts to it, the grip itself and the inserts. The grip feels really good in hand, they're just the right size and curve enough to ease your fingers into the shoulder and trigger buttons. Next, the 2 inserts. The first is for using a set of Joy-Cons together. We actually like using it detached, and it's perfect to also travel with since it keeps them together. On top of that, it also has a USB-C port at the top to charge the Joy-Cons. The second insert is for a single Joy-Con to use individually. In this mode, it enhances the SL and SR buttons and has holes on the back to easily eject the Joy-Con. Finally, you just slide in the one you want, and you're all set. So it may not be the best looking grip out there, but it's by far the most versatile, and that's why we bought 4 of them.
Right out the gate, Hori's already released 4 new accessories for the Switch Lite.
First is their slim, tough pouch. It's available in blue, but we went with black because we like how discreet it looks. So it's a clean and simple hard shell case with a nice kind of linear texture to it. Inside, we have an awesome yellow interior that really pops, and at the top, we have a mesh net for accessories. Below that, a screen-protecting flap with 10 elastic game sleeves. So the Switch Lite drops right in and fits perfectly. Overall, a nice discreet case that's very secure. Next is the Duraflexi Protector. It's a clear case, but unlike a crystal case, this one is very flexible, which helps absorb impacts. Now, installing it is sort of a pain. It's best to start from the bottom and then slowly insert the triggers and shoulder buttons. But at least it's easy to remove. Once it's on, it looks really nice and even adds this shine to the entire console. But most importantly, cutouts are just about perfect and everything you need is easily accessible. And you'll be glad to know that yes, it is compatible with the Tough Pouch. Moving on, this is their very rugged hybrid system armor. It pops right on without a problem, and as you can see, it's got a very rugged look with all types of different textures throughout, along with a curved grip on the back. It's very thick to protect it from bumps and drops, but every port is still accessible along with the easy-to-use extruded power and volume buttons. Then, over on the back, we have a clear plastic to show off that logo. So, does it fit the Tough Pouch? Well, technically it does, but it's sort of a tight fit. Finally, we have their dual USB Playstand. Very similar to the previous one for the OG Switch, but like the Lite, it's tinier and more compact. So this actually adds a mode to the Switch Lite, which is tabletop mode. On the front, we have a USB-C charging port. To the right, we have a USB and an AC adapter port along with another USB port on the left. Then on the back, we have a simple kickstand that opens to one angle. So the Switch Lite pops right in, and then you have two USB ports to plug whatever you'd like to it, be it wired controllers, fight sticks, adapters, etc. But although it's smaller, the extruded USB-C port on the front makes it a bit too thick to fit in smaller cases. Next up, we have the very unique Slipcase by Waterfield, which, like their previous Switch cases, was designed with input by the community. Similar to the Switch Pouch, this is a clean and simple case to carry the Switch Lite and a few essentials. First thing that stands out is this very thick, kind of cross-stitched exterior made with water-resistant Luna textiles. This is the very vibrant cobalt blue, which really pops, but it's also available in red and gray, along with wax canvas and ballistic nylon. At the bottom, we have a full-grain leather grip. Then on the right, there's a small loop for something like a carabiner or wrist strap to help carry it. Next, it has a full-length magnetic closure that has just the right amount of strength to it. Waka, 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 waka. Then, throughout the inside, we have a soft padded plush liner and two pockets on both sides which are about the size of the screen, which gives the analog sticks room to breathe. As for capacity, you have enough room for small accessories like earbuds, a game case, a small stylus, things like that, and then the Switch Lite gets sandwiched right in between. Very simple with a unique and fun design. Perfect to toss in a bag and go. Oh, and for those wondering, they're also resizing the City Slicker and pouch for the Switch Lite, so keep an eye out for those. Next on the list is PDP Gaming. They've decided to approach the Switch Lite with dual compatibility, which means these cases work for both the original Switch and the newer Switch Lite. Perfect for those who own both. Starting with the smaller deluxe travel case, it's a hard shell case with a nice heathered texture to it, and this being the Pokemon version, we have a Pikachu accent strip on the side. Then on the corner here, we have this rubber snap-in handle to both carry it and attach it to other bags. Inside, we have a mesh accessory compartment at the top and a very wide protective divider with a massive 14 game card capacity, and it can also hold 2 Joy-Con straps on the left. On the other side, we have this very soft pouch to protect the screen that also gives the analog sticks room to breathe. Now, on the last compartment, we have a nice strap to easily remove the console, and in here we have a molded insert for the Switch Lite. It's nice and rigid. I'm sure you can even use this with other cases as well. And if you want to use this for the original Switch, you just remove the insert. But for those wondering, no, you cannot fit both the original Switch and Switch Lite in this case. Next is their larger commuter case, which is a different take on those large hard-shell travel cases. It's made of a semi-hard shell with the same look as the deluxe version. At the top, we have a really nice handle with rubber grip, and on the front, we have a thin zippered compartment for smaller accessories. Now in here, we have a lot. On this side, we have a thick cushioned flap with 4 game card slots and a tiny mesh compartment. It's held down with a Velcro strap, and underneath is where the Switch or Switch Lite goes. That adjustable strap makes it so both, regardless of size, will fit, but just make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want it wiggling around. Above that, we have 2 straps for Joy-Cons or possibly some cables. Now on the other side, there's a pouch to store the AC adapter, cables, and Joy-Con straps. And then to the right, we have 9 more game card slots, and this strap is to hold a Pro controller, but yes, you can also use third-party ones as well. Then there's Tomtoc with their familiar slim case, which has been resized for the Switch Lite. This is their gray version that's wrapped in this heathered or interwoven material. On the front, we have the extruded controls of the console, which helps it keep to that thin size. And at the top, we have a long wrist strap to carry it. Then to get inside, we have smooth opening YKK zippers. In here, it's as simple as it gets. We have a soft-lined protective screen flap with 8 game card sleeves and the slot for the Switch Lite below. No room for accessories because this is for those of you who want the thinnest yet most protective case on the market. Now, as a quick heads up, we were going to bring up their GripCase cover kit, but apparently they're changing the material on it, so we'll check back on this one later. Finally, there's Orsley. Starting off with screen protectors. This is their lifetime pack that comes with 4 tempered glass screen protectors for only $8, while most others come with less and cost more. We made an entire video on these showing you how to best install them, so click the info card above to check that out. And then we have their carrying case. For those who don't know, Orsley makes one of the most popular Nintendo Switch carrying cases on the market, so this is a shrunk down version of it that's available in every color that the Switch Lite comes in. The exterior is nice and clean with a hard kind of bouncy shell that should protect it from drops. Moving in, we have a dual-layer mesh compartment with room in the back for larger accessories and a zippered compartment for smaller things like games or micro SD cards. Below that, we have a soft-lined flap with 8 mesh game slots so they're easy to pick out. Very handy. Now underneath, we have our Switch Lite compartment with 2 elastic bands to keep it in place, and there's also a tiny compartment for something like earbuds. Overall, it's very protective for things like bumps or drops, with enough room inside to carry the essentials and more. Raising over $1.7 million, 26,000 backers have shown that there's a pretty large demand for a portable Nintendo Switch dock. This is Genki's Covert dock. The name comes from its very discreet design and size, which is 10 times smaller than the official dock while still retaining the same functionality. On the front here, we have USB-C to connect and charge the Switch. Keep in mind that you need a USB-C cable that's 3.1 or higher, which they do provide in order for it to dock correctly. Next, unlike the official dock, which has 3 USB ports, here we only have 1 to keep to this portable size, and that's for accessories such as controllers or adapters. Then we have HDMI to connect it to your display. Finally, on the back, we have a retractable prong for power. And it also comes with international adapters, which makes it that much more travel friendly. So to use it, you just plug it in, connect your cables, turn on the Switch, and it works just like the official one. But like I said, make sure to use the right cable, USB-C 3.1, or it won't work. Now it gets better because this also makes for an awesome charging brick for all your other tech with the latest PD 3.0 protocols to fast charge phones, tablets, and even laptops. If that's not enough, it can even output those screens if they're DisplayPort compatible. And all that is why the Covert dock has become one of our new favorite accessories for the Switch. Just toss it in a bag along with another set of Joy-Cons and you'll be TV mode ready wherever you go. Back in the early 90s, Niko released the Shock and Rock for the Game Boy Color. Think of it like a rumble pack which works off the in-game audio while also providing power, louder external speakers, and a better grip. As a kid, this blew my mind. It was amazing, even though it wasn't perfect. 20 years later, and it's back to add rumble to the Switch Lite, which in case you didn't know, doesn't have it. To install it, you just slide it on, it'll lock in place, you then connect it to the headphone jack, and turn it on. Like the original, it shares all the same features, but now suited for the Switch Lite. First thing, it's a grip, and a very good one at that. I love the size and angle on the grips, and they also have a nice grippy micro texture. Next, because you can't use the console speakers, it has its own, located on the right grip, but it would have been nice to have two. The quality is okay, it can get very loud, but also a bit crackly, so you're better off using its pass-through headphone jack. And finally, there's rumble. Normally, developers program cues in-game to when your controller should vibrate, but the Shock and Rock instead uses peaks at specific levels from the in-game audio to vibrate. So the louder the audio input, the more frequently it'll rumble, and you can adjust it with the volume rocker on the Switch Lite. In something like action games, it can work pretty well. We like it best at about 75% volume, but in games with a lot of dialogue, it's
I came to this island to investigate a death.
It's very awkward, so don't use it for that. As you can tell, it's not for every game, but if you miss rumble on the Switch Lite, the Shock and Rock is definitely worth trying out. We're big fans of it, and say you're playing a game that doesn't suit the rumble, you could just turn it off and continue using it as an awesome grip that rivals the best out there. This little thing here, this is the Sidekick by Hyperkin. It's a simple gadget that attaches to the rails on the Switch, and it then opens at an angle so you can use it as a basic kickstand, but on the other end you have another rail for another Switch. So now you can angle these together in multiple ways. And it also comes with a second one so you can link a third console, but you can also get more to connect literally an infinite amount. Don't know why you would do that, but I guess you can. So that's the Sidekick. It's a simple way to link multiple Switch consoles together for local play, and that's about it. I mean, I guess you can attach it to a Joy-Con grip like this, but that doesn't do anything. All right, we finally did it. We found the courage to swap out the shells of our Switch and Joy-Cons, and boy, was it worth it. These are by Extreme Rate. They make a ton of custom parts such as shells, buttons, LEDs, and more for each of the latest consoles in a large variety of designs and colors, be it transparent, reflective, textured, and even with graphics. For this build, we went with the transparent kit that has shells for both the console and Joy-Cons, and a set of matcha green buttons. Every part seems very high quality and well machined. We didn't find any imperfections. On top of that, they also provide all the tools and parts you need along with extra screws, so if you do strip or lose one, don't worry, they've got you covered. Now, being my first time doing this, I definitely struggled with it. It's a very time-consuming process. You gotta take it slow and be patient because you don't want to strip any screws or damage any parts in there. So if you know what you're doing, you can knock it all out in about, 35 minutes? But because it was our first time, we ran into a few roadblocks. For example, the buttons kept rotating out of place, some of the ribbon cables randomly popped off, the battery cable snapped off this little connector, so I had to replace it with a new one, and all of that is due to a lack of experience and has nothing to do with the parts themselves. So like I said, be patient. Anyways, 3 hours later, and here is the final result. Was it worth it? Completely. Love the way these look and feel. They just look awesome. Look at that. On top of that, now that I'm a bit more familiar with the inner workings, it opens up a world of both customization and I can also tackle repairs by myself. So if you feel adventurous, we'd highly recommend giving it a try and make sure to let us know what configurations you went with. We'll be testing out some of their other products, including ones for the Pro Controller very soon, so make sure to subscribe and ding the bell to stay notified. No, it's not a lunchbox. I mean, you probably could use it for lunch, but no, this is PDP's Pull and Go case. It's a 2-in-1 carrying solution for the Switch from their Elite line of cases, which share this premium-y looking design. You've got durable materials throughout, it's semi-hard shell, and you can carry it by either the shoulder strap or the plush handle that connects via G-hooks on the sides, and that's so you can quickly remove them, along with this rubber strap to access the Velcro attached slim travel case for the Switch. Which, by the way, is held very securely, no way it's going to come off on its own, and if someone tries to steal it, that Velcro works as a very loud alarm. As for the case, it's pretty much a simpler version of their standalone slim case with a screen protecting flap that has 6 game card slots and a small accessories compartment. Then you have the slot for the Switch below. Next, we have the second bag to carry the rest of the Switch kit. Here we have a deep compartment with an accessories net in the back, along with soft padded walls that we can use with the 4 included Velcro dividers. So like you see with photography bags, you can arrange these in all sorts of configurations to best suit your kit. That means you can make space for the official dock, some controllers, grips, a power bank, your cables, etc. Overall, love the 2-in-1 concept here. This modular approach makes it perfect to travel with, so you can either take just the Switch by itself or snap it back on and take the full kit along with your lunch. We've checked out PDP's line of deluxe controllers before, but this latest one adds 2 highly requested features which makes it a new favorite. This is the Afterglow Wireless Deluxe Controller. Same as the other versions, we still have great build quality and an ergonomic design, large and springy face buttons, some of the best analog grips out there, a solid, easy to use and responsive D-pad, curvy, accessible shoulder buttons, the ability to wake up the Switch with either plus or home buttons, along with paddle buttons on the back that you can program, that awesome customizable RGB lighting with 4 modes, our favorite being this one which reacts to the movement of the analog sticks. And this time around, it still doesn't have rumble, but they did listen and make it wireless with a long-lasting rechargeable battery, and more importantly, they gave us motion controls. So it's not just all looks, because there's definitely some substance here along with those new additions, which make it a new favorite that we can safely recommend. We're always on the lookout for new protective cases for the Switch, and recently we were surprised to find one by Spigen, makers of phone cases that we're big fans of and have been using for years. It's available for both Switch and Switch Lite, and like their phone cases, these have a very similar stylish, clean, low-profile design with beveled edges, gently textured grips, and a transparent back. All around, we have very precise cutouts along with this nice indent that makes the power and volume buttons easy to access, but I do wish they left the back of the USB-C port exposed to keep it compatible with charging stands and wider adapters. Now, looks aside, it's also very tough. On the grips and towards the lower corners, we have a very thick amount of protection that thins out at the top, and like just about every other case, does leave the shoulder buttons exposed, so if you do drop it, you don't want it landing on there. While we're here, this little piece in front of the L and R buttons does make it a bit difficult to insert and remove, but it's not really a deal breaker. So if you're in the market for a clean, slick case for your Switch, Spigen has you covered. It's thin, yet protective, feels good in hand, and you can do this with it. Which I actually forgot to mention, it comes with a very long and elastic wrist strap, but don't do this with it. This is the VX2 Aim Switch by Gamesir, which gives you a PC gaming experience on console. It's a keypad and mouse combo that we've primarily used with the Switch, Switch Lite, and PC, but it also works for PS4 and Xbox One. There's a lot to like here. It's well designed with very solid construction. It can be used wired or wireless. It has a 7-hour battery life. It has non-clicky TTC red mechanical switches, which feel a lot like MX Brown's. It has a small joystick that works as either the left analog stick or D-pad. You can fully program the thing via the app, which lets you adjust a ton of settings, but sadly, no macro support. And it wouldn't be a gaming peripheral without RGB lighting and effects. Now, whether you customize the bindings or use the default, it'll take some time to memorize and get used to it, but once you do, it works well in just about any game. However, it's clearly best for shooters due to the accuracy you gain from using a mouse. Speaking of which, the included one is pretty decent. It's very lightweight due to its skeletonized design and has a good list of specs, but in our testing, we did experience a few random jumps and stutters. One expensive way around that is with Razer's Viper Ultimate, because yes, you can use other mice with this keypad. Regardless of what mouse you hooked up though, because it's mimicking an analog stick, it won't exactly feel identical to PC. Regardless of what settings we adjusted, it feels a bit floaty, and things like flicking or quick turns don't work exactly as they should. So the best way to use it is similar to motion controls, where you move into position and use the mouse to fine-tune your aim. So if you want a PC-like experience on consoles or a portable gaming setup for your laptop, definitely check out the VX2 aim switch. It gives you a massive advantage in shooters, which I'm sure many will hate you for. There's a lot of protective cases out there for the Switch Lite, but if you have kids or if you have an Otter case on your phone, then Niko's bubble case may just be for you. Unlike most cases which are made of a rigid and tough TPU, this one's made of a softer, high-density foam that's very thick and shock-absorbent. It's available in 3 colors, has a round, bubbly design, hence the name, and it looks a lot like those kid cases for tablets. It even has feet so it can stand on its own for tabletop mode. As for protection, it has a lip all around the front that I wish was slightly more extruded to level off with the analog sticks. Then we have nice coverage over all the edges except the shoulder buttons. I would have liked to see them covered in some way, especially if I'm gonna let my kids use it, but not a lot of people want you messing with how they feel, which is why most cases do this. There is some defense around it, but if you drop it right on that corner, it's gonna take some damage. That aside, in hand it feels fine, but it would have been awesome if they extended these feet into grips. So overall, it's a decent case, especially for kids, but like I said, just try not to drop it on those shoulder buttons. We've tested out a ton of Nintendo Switch cases and grips, but this next one is very unique. This is the Command Case by Manji. At first glance, it looks like a bento box, and you could probably fit a lot of the foods in there as well. It's made of a tough TPU with a soft touch coating, and it's a 2-in-1. The first part is the protective case for the Switch with individual pieces for each part, so you can use them in every mode as well as docked if you don't add the console case. With it on, we can still access all our ports and I/O while protecting most of the console except for the shoulder buttons. Bummer, but that's to keep them accessible. Over on the back, we have a very wide kickstand that works at a single angle and snaps closed with a magnet. Then at the bottom we have feet, which lift it up enough so you can play and charge with an angled cable. Now on the Joy-Cons, we have these awesome elastic bands to secure your grip. They work very well, they're very comfortable, and the tension on them can also be adjusted since they're attached via Velcro. Now it's not perfect because there's 2 things I want to bring up. First, because the case covers them, the release buttons are a bit annoying to detach. Second, these can be a pain to remove, so it's not really a case you want to install over and over again. So this connects into the second part, the carrying case. It locks into place via this latch, which is very secure, and over on the other side, we have an accessories compartment. In it, there's 4 game card slots, an elastic band to hold a power bank, along with extra space for a few other things. It's held shut by 2 pretty strong magnets, but I wish it had a more secure latch instead. Finally, at the bottom, we have feet so it can stand on its own, and at the top, we have a longer elastic strap to carry it. To keep it short, this is an awesome kit. It's protective, well thought out and designed, very versatile, love the aesthetics of it, and I haven't seen anything like it on the market. Also, if you don't want the carrying case, they sell the protective case by itself. If you just watched all that, you're incredible. This series started because you guys asked for it, so make sure to continue talking to us in the comments or on social media because we're always listening. I know it sounds impossible, but yes, we have a lot more Nintendo Switch hauled episodes currently in the works, along with next-gen PS5 and Xbox Series X2, so make sure to subscribe and ding the bell to stay notified for all of that. Also, if you're looking to pick up anything featured in this massive video and want to support us at the same time, please check out the affiliate links down in the description below. Once again, this is Sergio AM, and I'll see you for the next box.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to help us out, you can do so by clicking that thumbs up button. And while you're at it, why not subscribe for more content? It's free. We also love to hear you out, so please leave a comment down below or talk with us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm Sergio IM, and I'll see you for the next box.